one on like. Oh wait. Yeah, let the beat drop.
Gotta put in work to make it work, babe. Gotta go all out, got to go all out just to get it right. Gotta try, but this ain't one of them nights 'cause you make love easy. You make love easy. From the moment I touched you, and
I don't know if these people who make remixes can like. Do they like have to get cleared and shit? Like, you guys are gonna sue me. You guys are doing it for the love, right? So yeah, we're just gonna.
I think it depends on who hears it, to be honest.
That makes sense.
Because if the person you sampling, you ain't really big enough for them to see you or hear you, then can't really sue you. People don't sue until some shit get big enough to make some money off of, to be honest.
That's true. Yeah, I remember I forgot this. Whatever this is, what is this? SYZYGY. I remember I was on this page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that sounds like stocks.
It does. I thought I was gonna be like, oh, I remember this cool page, but I just actually remember the fucking symbol, which on their page turns out to be that. But it was just when niggas just take mad mashups. That's back. I think once again this is some college shit where I was found out who Sango was and Soul-lection type shit. And I was on one of those YouTube journeys yesterday, just listening to music, and I was like, I remember this shit. I used to play this shit.
Those those renditions of types of songs, you have to really know who created it, and it's hard to find them if you don't. If you don't really know, it's
no,
this was dope, but who made this?
No, the amount of time it took to find this, because I found the page and I remembered the symbols, and I remembered this song, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember who Seventh Wonder was to save my life. I put Ninth Wonder. It was actual landmarks popping up. I was like, this is not it. I was searching through pyramids and fucking mountain ranges, and I was like, I'm here for music. This is not what I came here for.
That's disrespectful that Ninth Wonder doesn't pop up if you search for it.
I mean, I already knew he was coming up, but I didn't look for that. I looked for all the wonders.
This is what, Seventh Wonder?
Yeah.
I want all the how many wonders of the world is it?
I don't know.
I want to say it's 9 or 10, because people will refer to themselves as the 11th wonder of the world. Didn't they refer to China as the 11th wonder in the world back in the day?
She was one of the wonders of the world. I forget which one, though.
The 11th, I think it was the 11th. The 11th wonder of the world, China.
That makes sense.
So, at that time, wonderful. But
she was, slamming shit and doing shit. Titties matched.
Oh.
Wait, did she pass Rest in Peace to Dead? My bad. I'm sorry.
She had a full-blown porn career toward the end of her life, sir.
That was a lot.
I think you can. I think it's okay.
Because at first, I remember at first it was everybody was doing the sex tape thing, and it was her and X-Pac at a sex tape, and I was like, oh, okay. Part of me that wasn't even porn. Part of me I was like, oh, their relationship is real. Right. That's cool.
They actually care about each other.
Yeah,
okay, great.
They're fucking. That's dope. This isn't just bullshit. And then all of a sudden it was years later, and it was Avengers porn, and she was in terribly green body paint. And I was like, this is taking a dive.
It is.
This is not. This wasn't.
Because I think for her, part of her appeal was that she was really in shape, and then when she had a rough spot, she kind of lost the body being the way that it was.
Yeah.
And then it was you can be filthy and still be together, but if you start suffering from substance and mental struggles and all that other stuff and divorces, that declines the body.
That wrestler life is hard.
It is extremely hard on the soul.
Yeah, I know they talk about it. I know people talk about it, but I'm that's gotta be I know it's hard being an artist. It's hard being any type of public figure, but
most definitely
that wrestling shit. Bro, y'all don't understand. We're on the road 300 days a year, or some shit. We're doing back then. It was nigga, we're doing coke in the back and coming out
I mean, even 7 or 8 times out of 10, they marry other wrestlers or they have relationships with other wrestlers.
This is the only motherfucker who could understand this lifestyle.
Right. Or somebody else that's willing to be on the road 24/7, but
yeah, because now they're now I think definitely with Behind the Rock, you have the ability to transition into real celebrity, some stability. Back then it was bro, people enjoy our shit. They don't even know why they enjoy our shit. I'm walking up, Jake the Snake is smoking a little bit, put the snake on and just walk out. Y'all niggas not even working out. We're just going here just destroying ourselves.
We're just here to entertain. Some of it there's not very many rocks in the industry, whereas I'm working out on a regular basis. I'm taking care of my health mentally, physically, and emotionally. I'm making a lot of money. I'm setting up maneuvers for me to make any type of progression outside of the ring, and I'm still having the ability to get out with my body intact for the most part.
Yeah, I think definitely I think the Attitude Era was like the first era where you could like survive this shit,
Right.
and then translate that shit. Like, he did it super good. But fucking, Stone Cold gave it a shot, and what the fuck, Triple H gave it a shot. Like, all right, we're gonna go and be like entertaining and get into this. The niggas after that, it seemed like, oh, all you niggas doing like at least a B movie. If you are
Right.
on, all of you are gonna do at least 3 B movies before you're like, all right, fuck, we're not gonna be The Rock yet. Like,
Yeah, it's that whole Attitude Era. But I think the characters they were allowed to play made them more marketable.
mm-hmm.
They've all like, literally, like you said, Stone Cold, Batista, John Cena,
Goldberg, even though that was
Goldberg, Rock.
yeah. What, Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan's before them, but he was the
Yeah.
only one. Before that, it was only him that would do movies and stuff. You may get an appearance by like a Macho Man or somebody every once in a while. Yeah, but for the most part, it was just Hulk Hogan. The Attitude Era, like it was like
Yeah, they were
out of every 5 wrestlers, one of us is going to do something major. And now it's just like it's whatever. I don't know what they're doing now.
I feel like it translates well because like you have storylines in the wrestling shit. Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I saw one of the wrestlers. She's not on in the WWE, but she's on Impact. Like it's a white girl. Like her body's made up and whatnot, but she's supposed to be like the strong girl, but she also has like her own OnlyFans. So it's like,
oh, good for her. Way to diversify that portfolio.
right? It's like I wrestle sometimes, and then I also will twerk and bust this thing open
Yeah,
on
I'm gonna
OnlyFans.
wrestle. I'm gonna wrestle in the ring, and then I'm gonna wrestle on that dick. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
It's, hey, can't call it. Some of them have like gone to or from bodybuilding. Like I think it's kind of like being in any other professional sport. Like the transition or the life that you have within this space doesn't last very long.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I'm going to capitalize on this as much as I can and set this up to make other chess moves as I can, and then get out. Like get this paper, get out. It's kind of like the rappers of today.
Yeah, like I didn't even really mean to go on this whole tirade about wrestling, but we're here now. And I named this shit like you're phony, but I feel like I'm gonna get to wherever I meant to get to with that, unless I forget.
No, we'll get to it. You can tie it in.
But yeah, like I feel like theirs is like, I guess, out of most sports, I think, or at least it seems like some of them like are prepared to like. Maybe I'll take that back. Not most of them, but like now, like the idea is to find a way to transition. Like I'm wrestling, but I'm always looking to transition this shit, into another outlet. Like, other athletes be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do after
Right.
insert whatever before that ball. Like, or even fucking like Mike Tyson and like Roy. Like I made fun of Roy like a lot of it, but a lot of Roy's shit is like. It just seemed like towards the end, it was like, bro, you had many a time to spit that mouthpiece out. And he was like, bro, it's some farmer in Russia, and I'm going to fight him. Like,
Right.
why, nigga? Like,
'Cause I
it's
think-
boxing. Like, no, you can be more than boxing, dude.
I think like the old school mentality of it, or you say like the new, staying with Roy and Tyson. Tyson today more so represents how people should approach themselves and the things that they invest their time in, whereas Roy is old school. Like I'm going to put my heart and soul into this, even when I'm declining. This is what I really like to do, so this is what I'm going to do until I die.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just is what it is. But I don't even care about the money. I'm just going to continue to do this, even when I've spent all my money and I have to find a way to make more money. I don't know how to do anything else but this. Whereas Mike was like, fuck all that. Like I achieved all that. It means absolutely nothing to me now because I learned what it means to be a real person and to really love myself and to really approach this in this way,
Mike
so on and so forth.
dips. Mike's dips made him like, bro, it ain't no more boxing. You ain't got nothing to do in these motherfuckers in
Right.
this cell, but get with Mike.
Right. I have to learn me. But he's one of the rare cases because not everybody that goes to jail actually gets rehabilitated.
Right.
So he did the work to really figure out who he was multiple times through all these situations. But for Roy, it was just like I don't know what else to do.
Mike is like a really rare case if it's like, bro, it's like, nigga, I came, like Mike was like, I'm a series of rock bottoms.
Right.
An extreme peak, more extreme rock bottom. Like, I feel like niggas would have took a mic turn and been like, "Oh yeah, bro, it's a wrap. Like you're out of here. This was a good run. You tried on the next go round."
Right. And you may not even get the opportunity to try again, because going back to the wrestling world, you fuck up once, it's a wrap. Like, if we can't work it into the storyline and it's going to hurt our marketability and our money, we getting rid of you. And I think that's why a lot of people within sports, within entertainment, like, they have the mindset now of, I'm going to do what I got to do to get in, get my money, and get out. I'm going to do this my way. I'm going to do it how I need to do it to get my cash. I don't really care about the profession, or I don't care about the craft as much. I care about monetizing this however I need to make it lucrative, and then I'm out of here.
Is that why everybody think Kev not funny no more? Because Kev just is.
No.
Kev is funny. That's not funny.
I think Kev is like the midpoint of both of those. Like, he's had some dips and he's had to learn some lessons within his famedom, but at the same time, I don't think he's really sitting with himself to really learn things and be at peace with it.
Right.
But I also don't think he's taking a dip in his ability. I don't think he's not funny anymore. I don't think it's like he sucks. I think what it is for him, he's reached a certain level of being famous to where he's walking on eggshells, and he's losing his ability because he's not in touch with the craft anymore.
Right. And that's right, because I've been watching, like, clearly this has been like a big thing, and this is the hot button topic to talk about today or whatever for now. Like, just sprinkle some current event shit before or whatever.
Peanut butter and crack sandwich.
Yeah, I've watched like a couple things even today. Like, it was some like comedy pages, which I thought was cool and didn't know existed. It was like underground comedy page on YouTube. We're giving you the comedy news. I was like, what the fuck did this come from? But they had some cool takes. It was like a couple comics like Capone and Pierre talked about it. Then they talked about it obviously on the Joe Budden podcast, and it was like more of that vibe. It's like, it's not that I don't even think, like Kev, like you said, like, it's not that Kev isn't funny. I think it's people are like, you look at comedians to be like, especially in this world of like extreme censorship, maybe comedians and maybe, you know, certain podcasts is like, no, bro, like, we need you to swing dick. And it's just like, you're not doing that. And I was sitting there, I was like, okay. And I thought about it like, you know, this is a great entertaining platform and going places. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, damn, like, would you rather take, you know, after a while, like, rich is rich to me.
Right.
Would you take, you know, the fucking Kev route where you're on par to be a billionaire or some shit when it's all said and done? Or you take the Dave Chappelle route where you're a legend by, like, various, whatever way you scale it, but you might not ever be, I guess, Kevin marketable. But I don't know how true that is either, because, like, Dave has doubled down to the point, like, take my show off the air.
Right.
I'm going to just be focused on the funny and risk the bullshit.
Right.
Like, when you look at like a Dave, even though Dave is a special case, I'm like, well, damn, nigga, if a Dave exists, you know, why the fuck would I not just do Dave? Because I could be 100% me.
Well, they also, they've gotten to their peak or to this height within the last, say, 10 years. Mm-hmm. But they came up during a time where everybody was off the wall, like we say, what the fuck we like. They come from the origins of comedy. They're not new booties that just got big overnight. They've been putting in work for decades. I think it's just two different approaches. Like, even to sprinkle a little bit of mental health in there, Dave got backed into a corner and he's like, fuck it, I got nothing else to lose. Right. I'm just going to do what the fuck I feel like doing. I got backed into this corner trying to maneuver certain ways to appease other people. I might as well just do what I want now. Whereas Kev is like, I kind of did what I wanted, what I needed to get to this point, and now I don't know how to manage all this. So when I'm backed into a corner, what do? I look. All right, let me try to negotiate out this corner. Hey, look, man, look, we don't have to go this route. Like, hey, man, look. I know how you feel. I know what you're not, but don't take it that way. No, but listen. Like, I can just, like, they're not playing characters.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They are who they are. When we see Kevin Hart in a movie, he's playing Kevin Hart. No, he always plays the same types of character because he's being himself. Yeah. Dave has been in TV shows and some movies. He's being himself. Always has been. So it's not a matter of, like, I'm losing this ability. No. I'm me. I'm always playing me. I'm just finding out different ways to make money off of me. But it's difficult to switch that approach when you need to, as far as what's best for you. Like Kev's approach, it may not be what's best for I got fuck you money now. I don't have to really walk on eggshells for anybody. Technically, I think he has more money than Dave, with the exception of what Dave has accomplished within the last few years. So I'm sure that's put him kind of back on top. But Kev was like, nobody's reaching me at all. So why am I doing this to appease everybody else? Because I'm a household name now. Like Dave was a household name from being wow factor. Like I say some shit like I said, peanut butter and crack sandwich. I'm saying this on regular television show. I'm talking to kids as a crackhead character, this, that, and the third. Kev was like, oh, he's small. People like him because he's animated and he's funny, and now white people like him as well. And it's like I can't.
That was what they talked about in the Joe Budden.
Yeah, I can't fuck that up because now I'm appeasing to everybody for being this likable person, and I have to figure out how to be likable. Dave was never likable.
Right.
I wasn't supposed to be likable. I'm supposed to be in your face.
That's what I like, and I know like I judge when I like look at comedians. I look at like the Carlins, you look at like the Patrices, you look at the Daves, and it's like everybody's not supposed to leave the room. Like that was amazing.
Right.
Like, you can't please everybody. So when I'm looking at like Kev, I'm like, I know Kev said like I remember like the old shit that was funny. Like you were saying shit that everybody in the room wouldn't like, and I guess that's the main thing is like Kev's progressed to a point where he ends up having to please the room, and I was just like, I don't know if I ever want to do that shit. Like I would love to be a fucking billionaire nigga, but I'm like, I feel like I like talking too much shit. So if there was like, if my ceiling was like 50 million, and they're like, oh hey, Just a Dope Ass Podcast to get to like 500 million if you niggas, were to like, even if you didn't do anything that was necessarily like Terry Crews-esque, I just feel like that opens the door too much to where like, damn, these motherfuckers are gonna control what I say. I cannot be an actual voice because I gotta.
Right. Did you see Kevin Hart's it wasn't an apology, but where he was addressing, I guess some people had a problem with his joke where he called his daughter a
He was saving face.
Yeah, but I'm like,
but I think that like even that I'm like,
you shouldn't have to.
do that, right?
I'm a comedian, not a politician.
I would if Kev would have said, nigga, fuck y'all. Like,
Right.
that's been the ongoing joke. Like, zero fucks given. Nigga drops 3 videos giving a lot of a fuck. Like,
Right. That's you're contradicting yourself, but
Yes.
you're also messing up your brand.
Right.
Yes.
If Dave went back and apologized for everything that he was saying, he wouldn't be the voice of reason that we have needed these last 5 years.
Right.
Dave has dropped 4 specials now, and like has progressed in not giving a fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
That nigga said, I got a comedy special, 834. I didn't really drop no jokes.
Yep.
You white people are trash.
Right.
Yep.
See y'all later.
Most of them he's told no jokes. He's just been very, very masterful in how he's presenting and setting up this point.
Right.
I'm storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm utilizing my actual life and funny ways of depicting these things that I've been through to bring you to a certain point in understanding, and then I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not like telling jokes, like checking jokes off the list. It's like, no, I save that for the comedy club when I'm getting back into it. But for the most part, I'm just here talking to you.
Yeah, I sometimes think like that is really what comedy is for. It's like, it's like these are tough topics, but it is to make you think. It is to make you like, y'all be sitting there at the house and you might say some fucked up shit, and then it becomes funny, and then it becomes a talking point, and whoop, 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 as opposed to just joke telling. Because even just as far as like the fucking heavy hitter greats, like Dave's great, but just Chris Rock. Like Chris Rock's tambourine when he was like going through his divorce, I was like, this is funny, but I was like, this is almost kind of like a really good lecture. I don't know how
Right.
like I'm feeling a lot of things.
Right.
They're good things, but this nigga's giving me game. This is amazing.
He's giving
huh?
game, but he was more so venting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm being transparent and letting you know what I'm going through. It's not necessarily the greatest situation for me. It's not my usual stick of comedy. I'm not up here in a suit like usual telling political jokes. I'm up here as a regularly dressed individual that's going through some shit. I want to share my thoughts and feelings with you, give you a little bit of game, and go about my business. I'm not really up here to entertain you. I think that's Kev's downfall.
Right.
He's still trying to entertain.
Yeah.
Part of his shtick is to be like animated, and I got to do all this stuff to make you feel good.
Yeah,
Fuck all that.
'cause
I feel like
said-
sharing some stuff with you. This is what I'm going to say, and this is how I'm going to say it because I have the ability to do so.
He said something in one of those things, which when people were getting mad at him about not being funny, and he responded, like, one of his things he responded was like, it's about growth. I'm not the same Kev.
Right.
And I was like, we get that, but I was like, that I sometimes, and I'm sensitive because mental health shit, like that's a fucking bar, man. That's part of my shit, like
Right.
growth. We're here to help you grow, nigga. Choice architects. I read that. But I'm like, yeah, y'all be getting sensitive, like y'all stealing our shit and fucking it up, because I'm like, Kev, there's a side. If you would just, I understand you feel away, and I've never felt the brunt of millions of people saying, TJ, shut the fuck up.
Right.
But at a point, I'm like, cut your phone off, nigga. Like, step back and let's just view all of Kev. Did you really grow as a businessman? Great, but like as your art form, look at the caliber of people who are on top. Like we just mentioned, like the Carlins, the Patrices. These are growth topics. It's not just what I did today when I stubbed my shoe. My motherfucking shoe was scuffed, and I was like, damn. Like, no, nigga, like these motherfuckers, you'll leave that shit. Like, I giggle, but damn, like I got to really reevaluate my relationship. And it's a weird thing, comedy, and it's like, I think people like, niggas, we're not shitting on Kev because you're an asshole. We want you to start being that. I done heard, bum bump. Like,
Right.
I think people now want Kev to be like, all right, man, like you're a comedy rock star. Now give us some shit. Like,
Right.
really give us some shit.
I think that's part of his fear, to be honest with you. I've reached a certain level of stardom to where my fuck-ups have been made public, and I've had to backtrack for them, and even the fuck-ups weren't really major
Should've just
fuck-ups,
leaned
to
into
be
them.
honest. But he's not leaning into them. Everybody else, if you, like you mentioned, Chris Rock, like we've talked about Dave, like these are people that I'm going to take my real shit and lean into that discomfort, and I'm going to be vulnerable with you, but also I'm going to share my vulnerability with you in a way to say, I don't give a fuck what you think. You're not. Dave, first special back. Who am I imitating? I'm going to, that joke. That's not really a joke. Who do I sound like? I sound like you. You motherfuckers are always telling me how I can express myself.
That part.
That was a funny thing that set the room off, but I'm telling you the truth. This is how you sound to me because you criticize me for being great at something, and you don't know how to do what I'm doing, so who are you to tell me?
It puts a real, like, I guess, deep responsibility on comedians and shit. But that shit right there is like, oh, you niggas are like really mirrors of people. Like,
Right.
you guys do a thing, and if and Kev up there, like, and not to just shit on him, but it's, if you choose this, then you are choosing to be this mirror. But you gotta, nigga, your shit smudge. Like, nigga, clean it, get some Windex, because we, people are looking for another. It's not a bunch of them, I don't think, but it'd be like, you get a couple big motherfuckers now. This is your shine, bitch. Like, let us know some things,
Right.
because you, like, I'm just like, you take their shit and you go somewhere and think about it. And I think comedians don't get enough credit for, these motherfuckers are sitting here like moving culture, moving thought.
Right.
You might not have like a philosopher, but you kind of do. Like, Socrates might have been the funniest motherfucker on earth. They just didn't have comedians then.
Right.
So I be one of these niggas like, nah, man, like, tell the joke, get your bag, but say some shit.
Right.
Well, you got to read the room. You can't, the same type of comedy that you came in with that made you big is not what's going to keep you big, because just like technology and everything else in pop culture in our world, it's constantly evolving and changing.
Like 40-year-old millionaires rapping about popping niggas, whatever. All
Right. You can't do that. You can't do that. That doesn't work anymore. Why? Because it doesn't suit you and it doesn't suit the community. Just like the Bernie Mac clip I showed you or sent you earlier. Him talking about, my little boy's a fag. Like, he's saying, we grew up, like, we were kids when that came out. We were high school, junior high when Kings of Comedy first came out.
Yeah.
They couldn't say those jokes today, unfortunately.
Unless you just
Sidebar.
unless you chose to.
Sidebar. You can say them today. You just have to not give a fuck what everybody else is saying. Cancel culture can't really cancel you if people still like your shit. And if they don't like your shit, then keep doing it for the people that do like your shit.
And I guess there's angles of, like, even that joke. Now, we're terrible. The history behind it, the way it's used, terrible. But it is also a giant conversation about black people sweeping uncomfortable conversations under the rug,
Right.
as opposed to
Right.
facing this shit, accepting this shit, change whatever the fuck. That's the joke. That's the, like, fuck, like, the statement is, well, bad, but that's the joke. Like, oh shit, I laughed, but you know what? I got a
You
cousin.
got a point.
I got a cousin that we really treat weird instead
Right.
of just telling bro, like, be yourself or
Right.
whatever.
We tiptoe around this thing and then we act like we don't see what we see.
Right.
And then when it's surprise, it's not really a surprise.
Right.
But you let me act surprised so I don't make you feel bad. That's what we've done as a community throughout history.
Yeah.
When it comes to slavery and us talking about we deserve reparations or whatever the case, like everything that we should have an uncomfortable conversation about, or everything that we should approach with a little bit more zeal, we let me tap dance a little bit, exit stage left. I don't know if I really want to have this conversation, but that's not how things should go. As a comedian, you've had 4 years worth of any type of, just look at the last 4 years. You have massive amounts of material. Political, you got material. Communal, as far as the black community, you got material.
Right.
Me Too movements and all that shit that's happened in the last 4 years, you mean to tell me you don't have nothing raw that you can talk about?
All right.
Go ahead. I know you're waiting on it. Go ahead.
We got some raw. We got some, speaking of hard conversations, because that's where we're going. Like stuff that just, women suck. They do really terrible things.
Okay.
And I basically just saw this. I've seen this kind of go up and down throughout the week. There've been posts of Summer Walker. Summer Walker's everybody's like, you know, one day you like her, she's everybody's weird punching bag. I don't really care about them. But the conversation of
whatever,
her and the London on the track nigga having a baby,
right?
And it was just like, we're going on a little bit of a trip here, folks. I promise it'll be fast.
We're
So
on a trip in a little
she's made a lot of posts about, at first it was like, a couple of days ago, oh my God, we're having a baby. It's lovely. It's amazing. And then maybe like last night I saw some Shade Room shit, and it was just like, fuck him. He's trash. I tried to get him to take this, that, and third with his kids, but he didn't want it. I tried to get the baby mamas, but they didn't want it. And here I am. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of victim.
Right.
It's a lot of like, I didn't do anything. I didn't whatever. And it set me on this whole like thing about, I was like, okay. It was like, you see in the comments, and it was just like, good women, are unappreciated and whoop, whoop, whoop. So I hashtagged good women. And I looked at all them. I looked at a couple pages of memes, and it was like, if you want to be treated correctly, step back and watch. If he's real, he'll come to you, and such and so on. And so then when I went, it was a lot. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of, if they don't appreciate a good thing, know your worth, queen. If it doesn't serve you, a good woman will make a man better. A good woman will whoop doo whoop. I hashtag good men. It's the same fucking posts. There's nothing that's innately like a good man is good on his own, basically. Like all of these posts, all of these sentiments, comments, and I'm looking at all, I'm like, a good woman is good simply for existing. And that's not to discredit women. But I was like, you know what? And I've gone to even some of these like pro-black pages. It's like black love, black woman, queen of the earth, black men protect black women. And it's like, it's not really shit like, hey, good man. It's like, good nigga. Like, wait a minute. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just was noticing like all these narratives, and then even the one that you sent me about there are women cheating. Like, it was a bunch of stories of women doing terrible shit to good niggas, and it was like, you don't really get any credit for being a good nigga. Like, you get nothing for it. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Which is fine, but if you say, all right, I'm a good woman, and you go, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You misogynist bitch. Like, you fucking dirty, low rent, no, and like no appreciative ass nigga. Like, but like, I'm really a good nigga. Like, what do you mean?
But
How do you guys define good nigga, though? A good man. How do y'all define that?
As a whole or individually? But I think that's the part we have to address, because I think the double standard comes when we are talking about lady folk. They just are, as an encompassing thing.
I would ask the same. I mean, not to just answer a question with a question, like, because I would ask the same thing to women. I guess it's the standards and needs of the person, because everybody's not the same.
Right.
But I always think of things like, a man has integrity. A man, is strong, whatever that means. I guess to you, I don't mean like you pick up heavy shit, but you know what I mean. Like,
you're a good person, full blown dope dealing street niggas that have integrity and are strong and are shitty individuals in a relationship.
Exactly.
So it depends. Everybody's going to dictate what it means for them to be a good person as an individual. And we have to take accountability for the people that we decide to deal with, because you're attracted to whatever this person is for some reason.
Right.
So if shit goes south, if it goes sour, or there's things about them that you don't like, you can't blame them 100%, because 50% of you like that shit. It's just getting on your nerves because if not more. But I'm blaming you because you're not being the way that I would like you to be, but you're not supposed to be.
Right.
I'm attracted to you for you, but when you are not serving me, then I have an issue.
Right.
I would also I would also like question like what, and this is for both sides, like nobody really understands what they're asking for. I want a good partner. I want a good this. What does that mean? Because really a lot of this should be like, I want somebody who caters to me and takes care of me.
Right.
But that might not be a good person. Like if you and me are dating and you're a fucking doctor or some shit, or a lawyer or something, I don't know, fucking Doctors Across Humanity, whatever the fuck that shit was. You're an amazing person.
Right.
But because you're not here to, cook me a plate and suck dick every day, she's like, nah, like you have to understand what you got into. You don't even understand what a good woman or good man is, or any of that shit. Like, it just sounds good. This person is supposed to, hold me close and whatever the fuck. And it's like, well, what else? What more is there? You don't.
Is somebody. No, go ahead.
And I was going to say, we also have like love languages, right? So everybody loves differently. Everybody receives and gives love differently. So it's like, I don't think we have deep enough conversations about what I require. Because like you just said, a good man. Some men think that they're good because they pay the bills. I pay my own bills. So I don't need you to pay my bills. So it's like.
Well, now you're asking people to like understand things at depth. Like,
yes,
what are you? Who are you?
Yes,
why do you even,
that's
like,
my thing.
You asking me to understand myself? How dare you?
Yeah, like,
I don't want to learn me. I just want somebody to come in and make me feel good. That's all I care about.
I like that he takes care of his responsibilities, so he's financially stable. Like, okay, well, once everything is paid for,
then what?
What else do y'all do? Like, what do you talk about?
How do we connect? How are we having some sort of bond that is supposed to surpass any other type of bond that I have?
Thank you.
I think as far as if we look at genders and how we interact with one another, you also have to be able to get rid of the ego of it as well. Yes, we getting that feedback. She is trying to figure it out.
She was flooded like every which way.
It was fine where it was.
Maybe if it was over.
It's okay. Figure it out. It's all right. You gonna figure it out.
Maybe where the bottle
Poor
is.
Tink.
I mean, it'll be farther.
Poor
away,
Tink.
but,
It's okay.
you're
gonna
not gonna be
figure
able
it
to say
out.
nothing to nobody.
Right. But going back to as far as how we approach what's supposed to be good and bad as far as genders are concerned, if you really understand yourself, you can figure out if somebody fits for you.
Right.
You could be somebody that like, oh, I want a woman that's achieved this, and this. And it may be some Latino woman that's a waitress at a restaurant that will treat you perfectly and give you everything that you need, but because she doesn't fit the stereotypical standards of what you think you're supposed to approach in a good woman, you don't want her. Or vice versa. A woman is a lawyer and you're like, oh, I want this woman that's going to listen to me and do everything that I want, and she'll take great care of the house, she'll take great care of the kids, she'll take great care of you, but she doesn't appease to you or can't contribute to helping making the burden easier. Like, you have to figure out for you what works.
And here's the thing about like understanding, like like everybody be like, like this is some quick process. Like, in order to get the fucking, what now I guess some acts like in the job market seems like it's the equivalent of a fucking certificate. But to get a bachelor's, it took you 4 years. Like to get a doctorate, it might take you 8 years, and so on and so forth. Like the idea that I know what's good for me, you learned how to wipe, like spiritually or mentally or whatever. You barely learned how to wipe your ass yesterday. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like. And so everybody, like, I feel like, they still want these, like, standards and love and this and that. And I don't think people even want, like, to speak on the fucking worst person on the planet. Like, when Tory Lanez said that fucking, like, shit of don't ask for something if you can't provide it. I want understanding and love and communication. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, you want somebody to listen to you. You want somebody to rub your back. You want somebody to be there for you when you're having a bad day. And this is really, like, I say this to like, it's everybody, but I always be looking at women like that, because that'd be the favorite line of like, I want love, but can you love back?
Right.
Can you give any of the things that you're requiring?
Right. Because the second he can't pay a bill, or he doesn't fuck you the way he used to fuck you and the way you want to be fucked, or he doesn't want to listen to you because are you asking him like, hey, what's going on with you? Like, let me check in and see or are you like, you know what? This isn't working for me anymore because it's not serving you, but you haven't even figured out how do I nurture the thing that's supposed to serve me so that it can serve me better. That takes you being selfless.
Yes.
I have to be able to give to this thing so that I can receive more back.
Yes.
All of that, whether you're talking about entertainment, being an entertainer for Kev, or being somebody that's in a certain craft for Roy, or whatever the case is, I have to figure out how to nurture this thing because I care about it and I'm going to get more out of it as opposed to approaching it as if I want it to serve me and me only, and I'm just going to continue take. And you don't even realize that you're approaching it with the mindset of take, which transitions us to my quote of the day.
Look how that fucking happened. Did you see that shit?
My quote of the day: serve the work and purpose, not your ego.
Ooh, damn, that's deep. I like that. I like that.
Everything that you...
That was good big tits of a
Yeah, I just, I had to...
They had a little gravity to them and
Yeah.
shit. Nice areola to titty ratio. That was
and the nipples were pierced.
Oh yeah, that was a big.
That's wonderful.
That was a big.
There's a little tattoo right in between that makes you look. Yeah, I dressed that one up real nice. But whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you claim that you care about, make sure that you're serving it with a particular purpose, as opposed to approaching it with a mindset that there's something that I can get out of it.
Right.
Because you can get something out of it for a short period of time, but at some point in time, I'm going to have to take care of this thing because it may not be able to take care of itself. And the roles are going to be reversed. In a 69, we both giving head. We both have to service one another within this system. We have become a literal yin-yang symbol standing up here in the middle of the living room because we can't be in our room because the kids' clothes are on our bed and we haven't clean shit up. But we have a babysitter for the night, and all we have is this spot in the living room. We're going to stand here, and I'm eating and you're eating, and this is how we are servicing one another to nurture one another within this situation. And that's how we're going to end up pleasing the situation, and then we're going to feel better, and then we're going to get some sleep, and we're going to eat. And when the kids come back and we're both drained as fuck, we're going to remember, you know what? This person serviced me, and they serviced me even better because I serviced them. Because anybody that's completely deplorable truly knows that in those situations, most definitely, go ahead, just play it in the background nicely.
I just felt like you needed this.
Whenever you are giving somebody top quality mouth, they give you even better quality back.
It's a competition now. Like
It is.
It's either, I mean, that's the negative version of it, but also, instead of it's all about perspective and mindset, because it's like, why you did that for me? Fucking thank you.
Right.
Oh my God. Like, wow, you didn't even have to, holy shit.
Right.
My traps will fucking bust in my fucking shoulder. I'll be like this.
Right.
I'll be happy to have this injury.
Because just to transition it from a sexual to a mental health space, when you create a safe space for somebody else, you end up getting way more out of them. That's right.
Yep.
Those of you that are like watching on live or something, you can't really hear
That
it
boy
yet.
gonna hit the knees.
Hey, that's all right.
You don't do shit else, he gonna get the
He gonna
knees.
get them vowels at all times. If nothing else, A-E-I-O-U, he practiced that from day one, and he has mastered it. But he serviced his craft, and he ran with it and made it work for him. But when you are able to sit within something and nurture something to the point to where you give it a safe space to really feel comfortable, that's when you get your best out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's your profession, whether it's yourself, whether it's your relationship.
Y'all should read the 4 agreements out there in the world. Like, it's not
Tell them about it.
It's
Yeah.
not a
Tell 'em what it is.
It's not a fucking long book. It's not super hard to whatever. But the 4 agreements is just like, it's just like a good one of those like good blueprint self-helpy books that kind of at least give you kind of a decent enough foundation for how to attack life, how to attack relationships, and you can apply the principles in a variety of places. Like, there's a 5th agreement too. Like, I read that one, but like, if you get the 4, it's a good it's 4 easy rules. Motherfucker kind of teaches you how to talks you through how to do it. Well, I'm an audiobook person, but yeah, it's a good easy read. And if you're interested in like a little growth, like a little.
Just a little bit of growth.
Yeah, it's just like it's nothing like
just a half
holy
chub.
fuck, the fabric of my mind is blown. It's just a little tweak in that perspective, and you might do some
Look, putting a penny in the jar is just as important as putting a dollar.
exactly like
It all adds up. You keep filling up your cup as much as you can until it runneth over.
these concepts of like giving and not making love and like relationships or anything like that, whether it's romantic or not transactional, if you just do it for the love of doing it, things like that, whatever, just sprinkling it out there.
So because you have to have some sort of self-growth, because you have to understand yourself enough to know when you're being selfish and when you're not being selfish.
Yeah.
You can't really nurture something unselfishly or be selfless if you don't even understand who self is.
Right.
You don't even recognize, damn, I'm being selfish as fuck right now. That's not helping me. That doesn't make anything better for me. So when you're a Roy, I'm being selfish and I'm chasing this thing that I probably should step away from or approach it differently. Now I'm hurting my lineage because I've continued to do this. When you're a Kev, I'm hurting my craft because I'm approaching this selfishly as opposed to learning who I am and being that wholeheartedly or transparently.
That's a bar about stepping out from perspective. We're going to use Kev and or Roy as like because people love relationships and whatever the fuck you're doing in your life. Actually, this shit probably applies to universal. Right?
It all applies.
Yeah, it all applies.
No matter what you're looking at, if
like
you're smart enough, you can make the dots connect.
You can.
That's what we're here to do. Honestly, like we really like this. Where you saw us stressing these hands.
Yeah,
like, we be doing this like it'd be like this when I cut this camera off. Be like motherfuckers, what I said. Anyway,
and don't you ask me shit.
but if you could draw a parallel from Kev or fucking Roy, you would look at it like, holy shit, bro, get to the bag. That might be like the surface of a relationship or some shit.
Right.
Get to the pussy, get to the ass. And you get there, you fighting this motherfucking dickhead farmer in Kazakhstan, and he beat you the fuck up. You be like, damn, like, why didn't I just, when the love of the craft could have been you coaching, or the love of the craft could have been you stepping away from it, the love of the craft you could have, if your love is boxing, then you would have adjusted how you attacked boxing. I guess for comedy, you're actually in the act, which I guess you guys could parallel to being like really in the relationship, so you don't have to change your position because you guys hate doing that because I like where I'm at. But I digress. If you're a Kevin and the love is comedy, the love is to be up here and be free, the love is to get up here and provide for my family. Well, I provide. I've made enough money and enough ways to parlay it, so now I can pull a Dave who looks like I'm really enjoying comedy. Like, this is not a job. Like Kev says shit like, I'm gonna step away from comedy. I don't even know if you'd ever hear Dave do that. I love being a comedian. Like, I love, because I've dedicated my life to actually like fulfilling this purpose. I've turned my purpose into something that can obviously benefit me and make me money, but not at the risk of like muddying or making it shallow for the sake of something like dumb. That's like, to me, the parallel, like somebody going like, I want to live my truth in this relationship, but if I feel like I say this, she might stop sucking my dick. Right. Well, you're going to just keep getting your dick sucked, but be fucking really, really unhappy in other areas.
Right.
Like a Kev, where if you be like a Dave, it's like, I'm going to still get my dick sucked, and now I get it sucked better, actually. Like, it might not be as, I don't even know. I'm losing my fucking parallel to this fucking thing, but you know what I mean.
I mean, sticking with the theme of, say, sex, you being able to live your truth and speak about what you really want and what you really need is going to actually help stimulate you more. Right. Even if you're worried about, like, stick with the realm of sucking dick. If I like a thing in my ass when you suck my dick. If you don't tell her that because you think she's going to think that you're gay or whatever the case is, if it's not stimulating you, what happens?
Right.
Limp noodle. I can't get it anymore because this isn't stimulating me the way that I need to be, as opposed to taking a chance and saying, this is what I like. Oh my God, you like, I can't even, okay, well then find somebody that does.
Exactly.
Or she says, I've been waiting for you to ask. And then now you're like, this is perfect. But it depends on you being in tune with yourself and learning yourself, and then stepping into a realm, which is the next step of being vulnerability authentically, and then letting people know this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I do, and do it unapologetically. So we have a good question in my comment, which is, how do you find yourself in a certain mental standpoint? Like, how do you find yourself, basically? Mentally, physically, emotionally, how do you find yourself?
Practice.
Sit with yourself, too.
Yeah, like
you gotta sit with yourself.
Yeah, it's like, you like anything else you want to get good at, you have to put the intent on and it's not like, oh, I'm really focused on finding me, and I'm gonna do it in like 6 weeks.
Right.
Only thing I would say with that is that the problem would, I guess, the issue would come in on there's really no time frame, because 51-year-old you would be a completely different from 50-year-old you.
Right.
Yeah.
But you might have to wait till 75-year-old you. You might hit enlightenment on your deathbed, like, and you just got to get comfortable with unraveling and like like that's what I mean. Like even when I always bring up the Kanye thing, it's like simple yet a complex act. Like it's simply I am intent on getting better, and it's complex in the ways you get better. Like if I go eat if I stop eating turkey sandwiches, I'm gonna start eating like vegetables and shit. I'm getting better. Now that getting better can actually like biologically like assist my cognitive ability. So now I got the biological skills attached to it, but now I got to get cool with like unraveling shit, read things that I feel like this probably could like tweak a brain or whatever, and you just got to be open to it. Like I'm just gonna consistently be in a space of betterment.
Right. Yeah. I would say you have to release boundaries and expectations. Because you getting better, like you said, at 45 versus you 55, that's not the same person. You at 50 versus you at 55 is not the same person. So getting better is going to look different at all these different transitions in your life. But you have to release your expectation on what you think better is supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Better for me could just be this right now. And then when I get to the next level, better can be this.
Yes.
And when I get to another transition, better can be this. But if you're like, better has to be this, and I have to strive to making this happen specifically, and if this doesn't happen, then I didn't get better.
Right.
That's part of the issue, because now you're putting added pressure on yourself, which is going to create more anxiety, more disrest and unsettledness within yourself. You're going to be off-centered. You're not going to be in tune with who you are.
What's that bar? It's the journey, not the destination.
Right.
It is baby
But
steps.
like,
You have to be like water.
But
When you
that-
are like water, you flow
but
evenly
I
around
guess
things.
that is the thing. There is no quote unquote like destination. Like
Right.
the entire thing is like, oh, I found this. Oh, I found this. Oh, I found this. Oh, I found this.
Right.
Like pick up some shit. Like I remember like initially like when I was really starting into like like self improvement and betterment and whatever the fuck, I would really just read shit. I don't know what the fuck that is. I know that it's a thing, and I know that it's whatever. I would just either listen to something and I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Oh, this taught me a thing. I read this whole, I listened to this whole thing for 90 minutes. It gave me 10 minutes of shit that I resonate with. And then I might come back and listen to it a year later because it's still in my fucking feed of shit on YouTube. But I've listened to a bunch of other things, and now 50 minutes of this shit really makes sense.
Right.
So I guess simply just like, get in a space of, I'm just going to be trying shit.
Right.
Big fucking try. You're a scientist, nigga, of you.
Right.
Trial and fucking
You are
error.
the creator and author of your reality and of your universe. You are your God.
Yes.
So create as much as you can, but also tap into
Christians just said.
whatever.
Although that is a perspective. If
That is
It
the
is that,
perspective.
yes.
if the Holy Spirit is
It's
in you, then
within
the
you,
God is.
yeah.
Oh my God,
Yep.
bro! Like what the fuck?
Right. You have to think below those layers. But just even with the analogy that you're presenting right now, you have to get rid of being upset with certain things just because it challenges you in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of you being able to grow to another transition in your life, or to increase yourself or grow yourself, or whatever the case is, or whatever you're trying to accomplish. I have to not only just let myself be unapologetically me, but you have to be transparent with yourself. I got to really look at all my ugliness and accept it for what it is, and dive into it and realize our favorite word here on Just a Dope Ass Podcast, accountability. I like
your
that.
fucking fault.
I like that.
Where's
That
the
was
camera?
nice. Good job. Welcome. You are hitting
You did
the-
that.
High fives around the room. God
So proud
damn
of
it.
us.
But yes, you have to be accountable with your fuck ups, your transitions, and your situations and your life's experiences, because you have contributed to them all.
Right.
It's easy to blame something else. But if you can't look at every situation in your life and say, how did I fuck this up? Or what did I contribute to this in a negative way? And how can I change that? Then you're not really growing.
You're not
And I'm just gonna let you guys know right now, because I can hear you. I can hear you, and I love you, and I care. And that does not mean I knew that stupid motherfucker was.
Not at all.
I knew that.
Nope.
I knew the bitch was no good. Like
exactly.
that's step like that's not even one.
That's
like,
a half a step.
Yeah, that's a half step because that's deflecting blame.
Right.
Like, don't do that shit. Like, that doesn't.
I
count.
knew you was no good. Okay, you admitted the fact that you knew this was bullshit. Now the next start, I knew you was no good, and I still allowed myself to do it anyway. That should be the rest of that sentence.
What I wanted something out of this. Go figure out what that.
Right.
What is it about me that keeps attracting this bullshit into my life? What is it like? Whatever. How do I say this? It's like leaning against, like if your knee jerk thought is to blame the room, if you just turn the chair, behind that is the real thing you're trying to cover up.
Exactly.
Like, well, if you hadn't, nah.
Yeah.
And then the turnaround is, nah, I shouldn't have I shouldn't have drove us to whatever, and I knew he was whatever, but like whatever the reason is,
right.
Like you did that, and that's what you should deal with for you. And when you say I'm sorry, it's like, I'm sorry, but nah, I'm completely at the mercy of you giving a fuck or not giving a fuck or whatever. But I'm sincerely laying my part here, and that's me.
Right.
Well, it's the approach has to be when you externally blame whatever that's in front of you. You hit a wall.
You do.
When you start to not blame yourself, but question yourself and try to find answers, you go in that rabbit hole and you just keep going. And it's endless until you get to the actual floor of the foundation. Right. Why? Because you think of effective communication. You have open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. Blaming other people is closed-ended.
As fuck.
Yep.
Because I'm yelling at this wall for being here.
Right. Right.
As opposed to looking at myself and saying, why the fuck did I walk into this wall? Matter of fact, why am I even over here? Matter of fact, this isn't even a door. Why didn't I go to the front?
Exactly.
Why didn't I? What was I looking for in the first? All these questions can come just from approaching yourself with accountability.
It's a peacefuler way to go about things. That doesn't make the wall not a wall. If the wall's fucked, like the wall is hard. If that's, it's part of parallel somebody being wrong. The wall's still a wall. The wall's still solid as fuck. The wall still doesn't allow me to walk through. But if I just ask those questions, I'm like, look at that door.
Exactly.
And now if I walk through that door, holy shit, this is a new, like it keeps you from being a angry person. Like you're a more peaceful person. And that shit resonates. And then we get into conversation about vibes and shit and what you're attracting. And
well, that's a good one because you know what? Like, it's true that some people attract like shitty people. And it's, like you just said, a wall's still a wall. Yeah, he may not be shit. The next one ain't gonna be shit either because it's something in you. Like maybe you're insecure and you date down so that you feel better. You know what I'm saying? Because if you date at your level, you're gonna feel insecure yourself. So it's like,
in the great words of Cat Williams, maybe it's something about your pussy that attracts ain't shit niggas. And I'm not speaking literally as if your vagina is the reason why you have these bad experiences, but in general, as individuals, going back to the wall analogy, the wall has been a wall before you even knew it was there.
right.
This has been the case here. In a relationship, this person has been themselves before you even knew that they existed. You somehow got here. That wall didn't shoot out a grappling hook and pull you towards it. You took yourself over there. You are both the answer and the problem for everything in your life.
At the same damn time.
At the same time. You can't blame anybody else.
Nope.
I mean, you can. It's not going to help you out.
Nope.
It's not going to
'cause
make you better.
You don't learn the lesson or this whole thing of growth and progression. Like, all forms of growth have, what's that shit? Growing pains. Like, they all have like a, so, you have to, but knowing self helps to be like, okay, is this a pain that's like helping me push through some shit? Or is this me just getting my motherfucking head knocked against?
Right.
Figurative, well, literally for whoever's out there.
Depending on the relationship.
Yeah, like, and that still takes, all of this is a journey and consistently being in a state of learning because it's just like, oh, we go through a rough patch. No, dummy, that's abuse.
Right.
Oh, this is, somebody being shitty and abusive. No, that's the lesson. And you're going to, I don't give a fuck where you date, who you date, pussy, balls, dog. It's going to be the same fucking shit you're going to run into again because you didn't learn from this motherfucker over here. You just was like, all right, bet. Like, fuck this. This, I can't have that. I can't have no type of woman, nigga. You're going to always have that type of woman, nigga. Like, you're weird.
But they say it's going to continue to hurt until you learn a lesson or something.
Most definitely. So a comment I have is, could have looked at that wall as we were walking toward it and say, oh, no.
Right.
That's not where I'm trying to go, and turn your ass around.
Exactly.
You can't blame the wall. The wall was still, you walked into it.
Right.
Yeah, like,
You had a choice even before you arrived here, but that takes you being accountable for your actions. That takes you being in tune with yourself and understanding where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and what your purpose is. Because like I said earlier in the quote of the day, serve the work and the purpose, not your ego. Your ego is going to blindly lead you wherever, because your ego is emotion driven. When you have a purpose and you're doing a particular work, which is more logic driven for everybody that gets upset with me for being more logically inclined,
I am too.
you have to be more mindful.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is not emotionness.
I hate. Please, never mind. Keep going.
No.
Like, these
Say,
be really
speak your
good-
truth.
These be really good things, and I'll be like, I like see them the shit posted. I'll see somebody like comment on it. I'll be like, I don't think. And it's once again, it's like like I'm like Captain Understanding, but I don't think you know what you're talking about with that, or I don't think the understanding of this is here. Like it's not like it's an active. All right, man, let's go through this process of whatever, or even like, why are you reading that shit? I don't really like this. Why don't you like it? I'm gonna figure it out in a minute if you let me sit here,
Right.
because it's an active like I'm actually, why do I feel like this?
I do that
Let's go ahead and like just run this shit back. You got something on your mind? Like it's not necessarily towards you. I need to figure out, because this made me feel the way, good,
Right.
happy, mad, sad, or indifferent.
Right.
I want to know that. I want to know where that came from. It's not that I don't really like that, whatever. No, I do. I don't give a fuck about whoever this is. I don't like what they said, because what they said reminded me of this, what they reminded me of this, whatever. I done figured out some shit about me today.
You were
Right.
triggered.
I'm like 1.2% better. Yay.
Possibly. Even what you're saying makes me think about people that are like, I hate watching slave movies.
Yeah.
I hate seeing the same thing over and over. Well, learn a different aspect. There's so many different avenues that you can pay attention to, but you hate looking at this because you know for a fact that you're tired of people presenting this perspective of you.
There we go.
But what are you going to do to help make them not show you this perspective
Now,
over
here's-
and over?
I'm going to get some geek shit out here. Now, you motherfuckers be up there hating slave movies, and y'all only take a 2% jump of seeing, like, the woman lady lawyer not be... What the fuck was that movie? Like, oh, she's a strong, independent woman, and he's a hardworking black man. Like, y'all took, like, a 10%...
Any Tyler Perry movie?
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
that shit. Like, you take a 10% jump and be like, I hate slave movies, but this. When fucking shit, like, I'm going to always, promote this show, I think. The bitch in Lovecraft Country, my bad, the queen, she was a queen, a warrior, and niggas be like, I don't like fucking geek shit. That is the only space where you can literally, like, tell our actual story. Like, nigga, fucking be imaginative. It don't even gotta have pum, but nigga, make it fucking different. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Not only that, but y'all hate slave movies for the part of history that it shares with you, which is really like 5%, maybe 10% of our actual shit. But you'll hate watching something else like anime that gives you bars all day long and undertones, because you have to decipher past the and really listen like, no, there's an actual message in this entire show.
And all of them are not preparing. There's a lot that are just like, oh, they just animated some. This is some very
this deep
dramatic shit.
Most definitely.
I saw one the other day, like, and I don't like how the 3D drawing shit is, but it's this one that was like on Prime, and I just clicked it by accident, and it was cool. But it's like this old dude, he gets abducted by aliens. They turn him into some type of fucking robot. I watched like 3 episodes, but I see the appeal because it's not just robot save him up. It was like some old nigga, like his family doesn't appreciate him. He's about to die. He figures out he got cancer like the day before like the aliens abduct him. And it's all these themes about him like trying to understand his place in the world, dealing with depression, figuring out like I've lived my whole life and now he's got a second shot to make sure. I'm like, this is fucking fuck you kids. Get out the house.
Right.
Get out, little nigga. This
These
is for
are
me.
cartoons,
Yeah.
but people will look at the animation component of it and say, oh, that's a cartoon. I don't watch those. Those are for kids. You're not even really, but you love SpongeBob.
'cause he's cute.
Also, I know people get like caught up in the language barrier, but
Get out.
I'm like, I can read. Like,
Your time is up.
yeah, like,
Speaking of time being up,
they spoke Japanese. Like, I'm like, fuck it, man. Like,
put on the subtitles, you lazy bastard. You didn't want to read a book, at least read the goddamn screen. Learn something. Words help stimulate your mind.
I sometimes prefer hear. It just sounds less campy. Like when they say it, sometimes they yell a lot, but I sometimes will take over then. don't go there, James. Nah, put the nigga in the Japanese.
Right. Let them be their authentic selves, because that's part of their cultural expression, which we should be able to embrace.
Right.
So, in the theme of you getting out, because we're out of time, and I had to SpongeBob my ass, we are done with our time here at Just a Dope Ass Podcast. We didn't have introductions today, but we do have an exit. So how about that, you bastard? Either way, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the show. For those of you that are on live, it's not over just yet until the timer goes away, so chill out. For those of you that are listening and you're going to see this recorded later on and edited by TJ, we're saying bye to you. Thank you for being here with us on this lovely Saturday. This small business Saturday. I'm not with all the bullshit, but I am with you supporting small businesses, especially small black ones and small minority owned businesses. So support those, but buy some shit that you need, not just feeding your ego for the theme of today. Like, serve your purpose, not your ego. Serve the purpose of helping somebody else. Be subservient to the people around you and your community. And come tune in again with us next week on Thursday night. We'll be here to talk to you once again. Also, shout out to my little brother. It's his birthday, so I love you, bro.
Happy birthday. Go listen to Tom Mish. Go buy something black from all the black places that you see, all the ones that we promote here. And just don't be a fucking dick, bro. Okay, bye.